And so the question becomes, where would buyers need to defend? What type of reaction would they need? And how would we engage with something like this? Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Micron, talking about MU, one of the most parabolic moves out there. And we're going to be asking the question, can something like this keep going? And I'm going to break this down from an evidence-based perspective, going through my outlook. And one thing I want you to keep in mind as we do this is the buyer-seller negotiation. There's only one way that price moves, and it's buyers and sellers negotiating price. It's not a secret market maker hiding behind a curtain, pulling the strings. It's the buyer and seller negotiation. If buyers are desperate to get involved in something, they're going to raise their offer, meet sellers at their asking price. Sellers can keep raising that asking price, and price will keep going. It doesn't matter how oversold something is, overbought something is. Those are arbitrary, made up words. Okay, so what we're going to keep in mind here is the buyer-seller negotiation, and we're going to break that down from an evidence-based perspective. Okay, so just looking at this move, step one here, who is in control? Buyers or sellers? Answer that for yourself real quick. Who is driving this negotiation? The answer is very clearly buyers. Okay, price is soaring higher, exploding higher. What we are seeing here in that negotiation, if you think about an auction or an auction on eBay, for example, what we are seeing is buyers saying, I need to get in, I need to get in. I don't care how much you're going to charge me for this, get me in, right? Price was $540 not long ago. And buyers said, sure, get me in. Seller said, okay, I'll sell it to you for $575. Buyer said, get me in. Seller said, I'll sell it to you for $700. Buyer said, get me in, get me in, get me in, get me in. That has been what has been happening. Okay, that is the recent price action here as price is exploding higher. Buyers are saying, get me in. Okay, this is what has actively been happening. Now, getting into a little bit of analysis here, we can see some demand here. Okay, and the reason I mark this as demand, okay, this is pretty standard rally-based rally demand. Some of you may be familiar with it. Pretty general concept here, but the idea is that we have this aggression, okay, an aggressive candle here, gap up, strong day. Then we have a couple days that were paused, okay, these kind of doji candles, hammer candle here, and then no real price movement, and then price explodes away, resuming that aggression. And the concept here, the idea behind supply and demand visualized on a chart is that we had buyers chasing here, okay, in these kind of orange outlined candles, buyers chasing here, desperate to get in, desperate to get involved with this. And then sellers came down temporarily and said, you know what, 650-ish, that's a fair price. I'm going to unload some here. And so buyers no longer had to chase. Buyers no longer had to raise their offer. They no longer had to go chase down a seller higher up. They were able to agree on price temporarily. Okay, and then price explodes away, again showing that buyers are back to chasing, back to desperation mode to get involved in this move. And what that leaves here in this, gray box here, this blue demand zone, is buyers who were trying to get involved at 650 and there weren't enough sellers, okay? If we want to visualize this just with easy numbers, let's say that there were 100 buyers trying to buy at 650. Okay, and I'm just making up these numbers for the sake of simplicity. Okay, and let's say that 20 sellers stepped in to give us this pause here, and then the other 80 buyers were forced to either wait or chase. Okay, so if price comes back to this area, we can estimate, hypothesize that some of those buyers are still waiting in this area. Therefore, this being demand. Okay, so I'm highlighting this area here that is right around 667 is where that starts. Okay, so keep this level in mind. Now, what we're seeing up here is a little bit of balance, a little bit of a pause here as price starts to slow down. And talking about, again, that buyer-seller negotiation, what has stopped happening, at least at this moment, at least temporarily? Buyers have stopped chasing price. Buyers are not desperately chasing price. We're not exploding higher. Price is settling into some form of agreement up here. Sellers and buyers are in somewhat of agreement as price kind of hangs out in this upper 700s range. Okay, and let's say this continues and maybe we get a little bit of a pullback. Okay, we talked about this area down here, this demand zone being of interest. This is a place where we can suspect that buyers may be waiting. Okay, so what buyers want to see? This answers our first question of where to look. Okay, so for me, if I want to get involved in something like this, or if I'm bullish on Micron and I want to see this continue, the where I want to look is going to be down here, okay, in the 620 to 670 kind of area. Okay, this zone down here, that's where I want to see buyers defend. Now, does that mean that price is going to go down? No, this is not a bearish outlook here. This does not mean price has to go down. This is a matter of if price goes down, I will be watching for buyers to step in. I will be watching to see if buyers can step in from this area and confirm that hypothesis that buyers are waiting below. Okay, so that is the where to look. Now, what to look for? There's a couple things that I want to see here, and the first one is going to be a little bit of balance. I want to see a little bit of a pause here, and I'm going to sketch a very rough idea of what that could look like. Okay, but a little bit of a pause here, maybe a slow decline towards this zone before entering, to show me that this is more of a passive profit-taking decline. This is not sellers fearful and aggressive and desperate to get out, but more so buyers cooling off, not chasing as much, some profit-taking, price slowly coming down to this area. Okay, if we get that type of retrace, a corrective retrace to this area, then I will be looking for a reversal structure or for a first candle reversal. Okay, and that is the what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is for buyers to step in here. Okay, so on the lower time frames, I would be looking for a reversal structure, something like this. Rough sketch here just of that type of structure. Break the downtrend. Okay, break the downtrend, form a higher low, and then explode back through. And at this point, again, this passive kind of corrective range, I would be looking for price to trade back through that. Okay, anyone who had exited longs, anyone who had established a short during the retrace, now getting forced out as price resumes this bullish desperation, taking price back through this range to a new high. Okay, so we've talked about the where, we've talked about the what, and that would be the how, right? The reversal structure or a first candle trigger would be the how. That would be my execution. That would get me involved in this trade if we get all of these things, okay? So a trigger for me here would be this reversal structure. Again, I'm just sketching the general outline of what that structure looks like here. This would likely be occurring on a lower time frame like the 2 hour or the 1 hour, kind of within this move. I'm enlarging it for the sake of example here. Okay, so that is what would get me involved in Micron, okay? I have my area of interest. I have what I want to see, the type of retrace I want to see, type of reaction I want to see, and how I would get involved, okay? Now let's say that price comes down here and it's aggressive down and it slices straight through that. Okay, well, that would be the first sign of trouble. That would tell me, hold on, buyers are not defending the place where, according to this analysis, they should be waiting. According to what I'm seeing on the chart, the evidence in front of me, if buyers are not defending there, that's room for some pause, room for some hesitation. And it doesn't mean that Micron is going to crash, nothing like that. But if we get through this area, let's say below 610, okay, we would have the first dent in bullish control. Notice how this entire way, okay, buyers are in control. There is absolutely zero reason to be fighting this. There's no evidence of really anything bearish to this moment. Okay, but if we broke through there on this daily time frame, that would be the first dent in higher time frame control. That would be the first reason for caution. And so let's say, for example, someone is long from down here. on this breakout. Okay, this gives us now a good spot to potentially tighten up risk, raise our stops up, defend against, etc. Because if this is going to keep going, we want to see buyers showing up from demand. We want to see buyers stepping in, defending trend, defending control from areas where we suspect and hypothesize that buyers are waiting. And if we see those waiting buyers not stepping in, okay, that's a sign of seller aggression. That's a sign of buyer weakness. And we don't want to see that if we're bullish, right? We don't want to see evidence that conflicts our thesis. Okay, so that is a quick breakdown here of Micron. It's going to be, some time for this to develop. Again, it doesn't have to come back to this zone. Let's say Micron just goes straight up. Oh well, price resumes, trend resumes. There is, the bullish control continues. Okay, but if we get that corrective slow retrace into this 667 to 627-ish range, that will be my area of interest. I'll be watching there for a reversal structure or a first candle reversal. So hopefully you learned something here. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. Otherwise, have a good one, guys. Catch you later.